Now then, imagine a dressing room including Rooney, Arshavin, Essien, Gerrard, Lampard, Terry and Ferdinand. Then in walks you, the manager. Well, that will indeed be the scenario this season, as every Thursday Mirror Football TV devotes a show to helping you to discover just how difficult a job Sir Alex, Mark Hughes, Arsene Wenger and every other manager in the Premier League has on their hands. Now, before we look at my team, first, the prizes. The overall prize pot is £150,000 in cash across the whole season. But for those of you who want to take me on in my own mini league, you can win £250 in cash if you finished first. We'll give you details later on how you can join that league. Now then, each week I'll be joined by one of the big brains of the beautiful game for our You the Manager Nerve Centre, and this week it's Fantasy Dave Jameson. He'll be giving you the lowdown on exactly how the players you pick are doing in the Mirror's Fantasy League. But first, my team. In goal, Liverpool's Pepe Reina was the most productive keeper in the competition last season, picking up 163 points, 2 behind Chelsea's Petr Cech. In front of him, in my defence, I expect big things from Joleon Lescott this season, even if he doesn't make the move to Eastlands and stays at Everton. Again, Lescott picked up the second biggest tally for a defender last season behind Vidic at Manchester United. Carlos Quella at Aston Villa, Brede Hangeland at Fulham, maybe Arsenal, who knows, and Micah Richards at City are all quality players at decent clubs, so they can help to keep the points high. Dave?
Yep, all good defenders, Darren. I think Hangeland's going to perform really well this season, regardless of where he plays. Very cheap, as is Micah Richards and also Carlos Quella, all playing at top 10 sides. All might score the odd goal.
Now, I've gone for a 4-3-3 in my midfield. You've got to have Gerrard. He picked up 209 points last season. Only Lampard did better than him. I couldn't get Lampard, but I have got the next best thing in midfield. Arshavin. What a player. He only came in late at Arsenal next season, but he proved he's going to be a pure gold this season and is an absolute must. I'm not sure about James Milner. I'm thinking I might reinvest that money in a new signing that's likely to be fairly cheap, but maybe a bit more experienced. Dave?
I disagree. I think Milner's a good buy. I think he's at £5 million. He's a decent investment. He'll score lots of key goal contributions, and you never know, might get the odd goal or two, and he will definitely start every game.
Now, up front, I've got to be crazy not to have Torres in there, but I might need to rethink Blackburn's Franco Di Santo. Big Sam took him on loan from Chelsea, then said he might not play him regularly, which begs the question, why did you take him on loan in the first place? Also, Adebayor got a point to prove at Man City, but can he prove it, or does he really not have that scoring touch? Dave?
I think there are lots of options up front, and it's difficult really to put your finger on where you can improve your team. I think Adebayor will score the goals, and I think you should stick with Di Santo. Go with your original gut feeling. You've got to go with a bargain buy. Personally, I'd have gone with Jason Scotland at Wigan.
Now, like our sister show Football Spire, we'll be answering your messages every week, and to kick off, we've decided to answer a couple of the messages that you've left for yesterday's Football Spire show. HSK says, "Hi Darren, I just want to know why you put Di Santo, your striker, on loan from Chelsea into your team. Do you know something that we don't?" Well, the answer is that he was cheap. There's nothing sinister about it. In fact, I'm actually thinking of changing him for maybe a more experienced player, as I was saying before. Dave?
Got another one here, Darren. Robson here says, if I were you, Darren, I'd remove Adebayor and Di Santo and replace them with 4.5 and 5 million strikers to balance out the squad. I agree, Robson, you've got a decent point. It's a good strategy to go with the mid-level strikers. There are lots out there. I think Owen, obviously at Man United, could be the bargain buy this season at 5 million, and also Crouch at Tottenham.
Now, Manchester Lots of Numbers says here, Darren, I suggest you have Berbatov or Drogba instead of Adebayor. If there's any Man City player that you should have in your team, it's Robinho. He's the only one we know is going to play in 85% of the games. Is that true, Dave?
Well, don't forget about Tevez. 7.5 million is a lot of money, but he will play. He went to Man City to play football, and Man City would love to get one over the red side of Manchester. Now, what I'm going to do now, from every week from now on, is actually give you an update of Darren's team, see how he's doing, if well at all, and also see how you are doing in his mini league.
Now then, Fantasy Dave will also keep you across the best performing players in the Premier League so that you can decide whether or not to keep them or to dump them if they aren't doing the business. Dave will also keep you up to date on which keepers, defenders, midfielders and attackers are pulling in the points, because believe me, the best players don't always do the business, as I found out last year. Just to prove it, Dave, give us a few examples.
Well, Danny Murphy is he's an excellent player and he runs the show for Fulham, and he's quite cheap in this season's games, with 3 million last season. I think he's a bit more this season, but I think he's definitely worth it because he takes their free kicks and their penalties. Also, Michael Turner was the bargain buy of last season at £1 million. There's rumours that he might be moving to another Premier League team, and if he does move to that Premier League team, I honestly think that he will score goals and points. On the other hand, Darren, if you are looking for players that weren't expected to score as many points but did last season, you could think of West Ham's Hariti Ilunga, scored plenty of points. Another example here would be Danielson, the Arsenal defender. He got a lot of stick, but he scored a few goals and put himself back in midfield.
Also, each week we want you the manager questions. We want you to put your questions to Dave about the players he thinks will help your team best. Goodness knows I've needed his advice and the advice of the team down in the You the Manager Nerve Centre over the past season. Now let's have a look at this weekend's fixtures.
Well, I've picked out a few interesting stats for the games this weekend. Villa host Wigan, where it's very interesting to note that they've actually never beaten the Latics at Villa Park in the Premier League. Sunderland take on Bolton and have scored just 1 goal in the last 4 visits at the Reebok. The corresponding fixture last season ended 0-0, so that could be a banker for the clean sheets. Chelsea are set to lamp against Hull this weekend with top scorer Nicolas Anelka, who scored 19 goals last season, and Hull have had the fewest clean sheets away from home last season with just 6, so I predict a goal glut there. Spurs take on Liverpool and have got a good record against the Reds, in particular old Liverpool boy Robbie Keane, who scored in 6 of his last 7 games against them, so he could be a good pick this weekend.
Now then, before you rush to sign up, remember there are players to avoid, obviously, unless they make a massive improvement this year. Pompey keeper David James, for example, slipped from the 4th best to the 14th best keeper in the league in just 1 season. Defender Ricardo Carvalho at Chelsea brought in only 41 points last year, and Tal Ben-Haim at Man City picked up even less with just 18 points. Quite clearly, he won't get the chance to add to that this coming season. The other 2 poor performers in the You the Manager Fantasy League last year were striker Marlon Harewood at Aston Villa and defender Gareth Bale at Spurs with 9 points and 20 points respectively. So that's it for our first ever You the Manager show. Thanks to Fantasy Dave, he's back next week. And remember, we want to make the show as interactive as possible. In the coming weeks, we'll be inviting anyone who does particularly well on either our mini league or on the main competition itself onto the show. We're also launching a new You the Manager answer phone so that you can leave your questions that we can play out in future shows. Obviously, if you want to upload your video messages to us, then we are indeed happy to include them on the show as well. The idea is that we want to make it as much your show as ours, so that you can enjoy with us what is set to be a magnificent season in the Premier League, courtesy of our You the Manager game. So to confirm, to join me in my mini league, follow the instructions on the screen. You enter your team at www.mirror.co.uk/YTM. Once your team is confirmed, click on create/join a mini league. Then you join my mini league. The details are as follows. The name is FS Premiership and the password Football Spy. Enjoy the season and good luck trying to beat me. You're going to need it. And leave your messages for us on YouTube and on the mirrorfootball.co.uk website. I'll see you next time.